Here we are,
Hello,
YouTube Live. Joshua Ray Farmer with the infamous
Felicia Smith.
Felicia is here with me as my co-host. We are doing our first. Man, we look good on camera.
We do.
God, these two viewers right now are just getting an eyeful. So as long as I keep this in front of my teeth and don't show my teeth, you know what I mean?
As long as I keep on showing my
Yeah.
teeth.
See, look how white yours are. I'm gonna fix that.
Crest white strips. They
Crest
work.
white strips.
Do it at nighttime though.
Not
they
sponsored.
Make your teeth hurt.
Yes, shameless plug. So we are going live right now. You're watching this. If you're watching this at a later date, then we were live and you missed it. You missed the opportunity to ask us questions. So that's technically what this is. This is a tattoo shop Q&A live for you guys to ask us questions and we can answer them. Really anything tattoo shop related or tattoo related or kind of just anything in general.
Yeah.
Actually we are very new to the YouTube live scene. We've never done this before. It's our first episode. It's our it's our sixth. We're on 6.
Oh yeah.
So this is our 6th episode of doing a Q&A, and this is our first time doing it on YouTube. And with that being said, we ask questions on Instagram, on our stories. We ask questions on Facebook. We just give the little sort of story with the question box, and people ask questions and we answer them. Sometimes it's, do you believe in aliens? Sometimes it's, what's your favorite toilet paper? And sometimes it's about tattoos, which is kind of what we're looking for. So if you have those questions, let's rock and roll. If you guys want to leave comments, it's technically with this live, so far as I can tell. Never done it till today. We're learning. We's a learning.
Yeah. Oh, we are still learning.
Go into the chat. So the chat is actually probably right over here. So I should go on the other side of her. It's right over here, I believe. So if you go to the chat, then you can see where the comments can be made. It's technically not in the comment section below like typical on YouTube. But if you're watching this and you're seeing it on your screen, I'm sure you can figure it out. So you guys go and ask your questions and we will answer them. So Rochelle, she's on.
Hi, Rochelle.
Check it out. What's up?
Hi,
and
Susan.
my mother. So this is great. This is like a family reunion. Hello, mother. Hello, sister. Mom, if you would not mind, I would like to introduce Felicia. Felicia is our co-host, but also an apprentice here at the shop.
Nice to meet you.
And Rochelle's already met you. She loves you. So yeah, Mom, thanks for tuning in. We'll keep it as PG-13 as possible so far as your name is up on that screen. P.S. I love you. All right, so let's do this. We're going to go to questions, which is the point of the show. Again, if you're watching this live or pre-recorded, you guys, obviously if you're not watching it live, you can't ask questions. But ask questions here. Ask questions about anything you want. If they are inappropriate, we won't ask them because my mother's watching. But at the same time, ask tattoo-related stuff, and we're happy to get to you. So, Fel, if you would do me a favor, while we're talking, see questions on the screen, and I'll leave that part up to you. If there's something to be read, and we can answer it.
Okay. So your sister asks, how do you feel about touch-ups on tattoos that you didn't do? If, let's say, their artist isn't around anymore? Question mark.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
How do I personally feel? I am... Do I have to hold it, or you hold it when you ask the question? You hold it.
You
And then
can
when I
hold
ask
it
questions.
well because you're answering the question.
Perfect. Cool. So if you guys didn't know, what we do is we hold this so I can keep track with my dyslexic mind on whose turn it is to ask a question or answer. So I feel not so excited about tattooing other people's work. Most artists are the same. But at the same time, thanks for those comments, guys. I don't mind it if it's something I feel like can be turned into my type of work, because I hate to put my time into something that's not going to be that great if it's that bad of a tattoo. But oftentimes I do spice up people's work, but I typically like to do it respectfully. So I'm always making sure it's not artists that are local that someone's just trying to bounce on and get a better deal. But if it's somebody who really needs some help with it, I oftentimes can do something to their tattoo to make it better. But it's not necessarily something that we want to do. I mean, I don't think people are excited about fixing other people's mistakes. It's like paperwork. Do you want to fix somebody else's paperwork mistakes after a day's worth of filing? That would suck. It's kind of like that to me.
To me, I am a little bit newer, so I do not mind. I see it more as a challenge since I am only my first year in. But I for sure would not touch anybody else's work unless they are no longer around to do it anymore. If somebody would just ask for a cover up just because they're trying to avoid going back to the shop, or their other artist doesn't have availability, I don't do that.
Right. Same thing. Yeah, we like to be as respectful as possible. This is a really cool industry in the sense that we kind of have a bit of a community, and especially if it's local and even nation or state or internationally wide, if that's the right way to put it. We like to respect people best we can. So even if we're stealing somebody's work online, we like to change it, make it our own. Or if we do copy some artist's work, preferably not somebody's tattoo that's been done, but we copy artists' work, we like to give them credit for it, or most of the time even ask for permission, which is a great thing to do.
So, PD did have another question. I kind of lost it up there, but he asked another one, and his second one asked, have you ever messed up on a tattoo?
Wow, yes. PD, 100%. Yeah. We have messed up plenty of times. Tattoos, you get one try, really. I mean, it's the terminology for like a nice, bold, solid traditional line is a single pass. And when you're doing that for like American traditional lettering or anything that's like line work intensive, you really get one chance to do it right. And if you do it wrong, there's plenty of room for error. So yes, mistakes are done all the time, but as an artist or creative person, we have the ability to turn it into something great, even like Bob Ross calls them happy little mistakes. So yes, they do definitely happen. Good question. And everybody, it's true for every artist for sure.
Now, how did we first get into tattoos, and what was our first ever design that we tattooed onto somebody else?
Yeah, so I'm getting lost. But you're answering this. Yes, perfect. You're doing so good. See, I need you. Do you see how bad I am at this? Thank goodness for Felicia. Without her, I would be lost. I got into it simply by just being raised kind of at the right time in the right environment, meaning I had a bunch of tattooed people around me, my grandpa and my uncles and, people in my family and friends, that growing up it was just such a staple. And then it was kind of in the 90s where it started really getting hot. Every rock star, every cool person, every biker or gangster had them. So for me, it was natural to get into it. And then eventually the industry blew up and became something that it was really weird to think there was such a thing as celebrity tattoo artists, but that became a thing somewhere in the early 2000s. And so after that, it was just natural for me to want to migrate into it as an artist. Growing up, always doing art, just getting right into it just made sense. It was kind of a good timing as an industry for a lot of artists to jump in. No more window painting, pinstriping, or graphic art. It's all done on computers. So if you're an artist, a good place to do it, to do real art on people handmade is tattooing.
I got out into tattooing. Well, honestly, I've been into art all my life. I've always loved drawing on walls, paper, myself.
Your parents love it.
Yeah, my parents didn't really appreciate that, but about a year ago, I realized that I could use that creative ability for turning something that's a little bit more painful of an experience into something beautiful. And that's what I want to try to accomplish in my tattoo experience, especially within the first couple years of learning, because I feel like if you really learn how to be gentle with people and attend to people, it'll really stick with the following years of learning.
Yeah.
And your sister asks, what crystal do we have for today's session? This is a black tourmaline.
You know what I got to do? I just realized. I don't know if you want to read another one. I got to turn off the music before they boot us off.
Oh, shoot.
Copyright. Hopefully they don't do that to the whole thing. We'll find out right now. I know, right? So let's do that, and then that way you don't have to worry about it.
Good catch.
I know. I wasn't even thinking about it.
Good
Yep.
one.
They like to boot us off if there's music in the background, so we fixed that and hope that they don't catch it at any time. It actually could happen that they boot us off mid still, and if that does happen, we'll just log back on. You guys can keep watching. Okay, so what was... Oh, the crystal. You answered that. I couldn't help you there because it's just a cool, black, beautiful piece of earthly material. I love it.
Now, Dylan Woods asks, do you have a favorite musical-inspired tattoo?
Dylan... yeah, well, you know why he's asking that is because I tattooed a really cool Iron Maiden tattoo on his forearm that came out really awesome.
Really?
Yeah, it was beautiful. It's a cover of an Iron Maiden album that has a tree, and that Eddie is the mascot for Iron Maiden. It's like their creepy skull dude. and he's like coming out of the tree. He's like part of it. Like the tree and him are the same, and he's like emerging out. It's really cool.
I want to see that.
Yeah, it's really neat. It's been a couple years, maybe 3 or 4 years since I've done that, but it was an awesome piece. He was stoked about it.
You're taking good care of it, right?
Yeah, he is taking good care of it. That's right. He's a pasty dude. So it's super easy.
Yeah. It probably looks so cool then.
It does. Yep.
That's awesome.
Dylan, hopefully you're happy with it. You can answer that if you want. But to answer the question, my favorite music inspired tattoo. I actually tattooed my favorite guitarist. One of my favorite performers from the Misfits, the original Misfits, was a guy named Doyle. Actually, he's drawn on my wall right there if you want to know who he is. So anyway, the Misfits guitarist who now has his own band named Doyle. He's been in a few bands. He even plays with Danzig often, and shows up on his shows quite often, and they do Misfits covers, like an original lineup thing. So it was a Doyle tattoo, actually. It came out really great, and he even saw it, actually. He saw it and he signed it. But he saw it and said, he told, it was my girl that had the tattoo, and he looks at her and he goes, "Tell your mom I said sorry." And it was just really cool. Like he was super pumped about it. Yeah, he's a really cool dude. Actually ended up, I would say friends, like acquaintances, but he ended up keeping in contact with us over the years, and actually became part of a very important part of our lives. And he's just a really cool dude. So Doyle from the Misfits, the original Misfits, now has his own band Doyle. And that tattoo was my favorite music-inspired tattoo. Because I've always looked up to him. He's kind of like a Frankenstein-looking monster. And so to tattoo that was really cool.
That's awesome.
Do you have anything? You have to. You've done something music-related. No? Maybe? Drawing? Anything? But
I did a stippling drawing of Troy Sivan one time, but one of my crazy ex-boyfriends threw that out. So we're definitely gonna need to be working on some more musical inspired portraits.
Nice.
But Susan has a good question. She
Great.
asks, what is the longest time that you feel comfortable working in one session? That's a really good question, because you never know how many sessions a piece is going to take.
Yeah, definitely.
Would you like to answer this one?
Yes, that's a really great question, because a lot of people have, especially if they don't if it's their first tattoo or their first big tattoo, or let's say the first time attempting to talk to an artist about a sleeve. We get this all the time. People come in and say, I want a sleeve and I'd like to get it done before my wedding in August, and it'll be like May. And I'm thinking that with my kind of work, especially high detailed, more realistic type work, that's probably not going to happen. Well, first off, I'm always booked out way further than that anyway, so you would have to wait. But to answer your question, is how comfortable or how long can I work comfortably in one session? I like to shoot personally for somewhere between 6 to 8 hours max, and that's if it's a really full color detailed portrait or realism piece. But I think 8 hours for me and for the artist or for the customer is really quite my limit. That limit changes depending on the type of work. If it's something boring, I'll be honest with you, if it's just like fill in and black work, that threshold's probably way shorter. So it just depends on how engaged I am and how much I love the piece I'm doing. So I can easily sit for. And another way to answer that is the longest session I ever had was 9 hours on one person. Dude just got out of prison and came to me and said he wants to get covered. And I'm like, cool, I'll do it. And he just sat for as long as he could until he ran out of money. And that was 9 hours. And that was it. So, yeah, for me, it's somewhere between, shoot between 6 to 8 hours.
That's a really cool story. Not a lot of people have like the ability to do that, or like the accessibility to a tattoo artist like that. That was really awesome that you got to do that for him. Honestly, I'm newer. I am not yet an artist yet. If you guys didn't hear that part earlier in the video, but I am just an apprentice. So I think with my level of experience, I would only feel comfortable working with somebody for 5 hours at a time, because I'm not experienced in working with people for longer, and especially while they're getting tired and putting strain on whatever placement and they're getting tattooed.
Yeah, that's still a long time though, because it is hard for the customer to sit for that long. And again, it comes down to some factors like where it is, how late in the day is it your second tattoo you've been doing. If it's your second or third piece in the day, you might not want to work for 5 hours on it. But if it's on their sternum or on their throat and you're 2-3 hours in, they're going to be tapping out pretty quickly. There's also parts of the body. So a good way to answer that too, actually. There's parts of the body where it's really hard for us. Like I'm right-handed. So if somebody wants a tattoo on the left side of their torso up here on the chest or shoulder, I can't really sit sideways like this on the person. I can't sit over there and lean over. So it ends up being a really weird sort of awkward position. And I just wanted to do that. It looked fun. It ends up being really awkward. So, your stress will definitely get you. And then also sometimes it depends on how you feel in terms of your physicality. Like sometimes your back, it gives out before your hands or your attention. Sometimes your attention gives out before your hands. So it just depends. And my sister is saying her 4 hours is her limit. And that is a good limit. I think if there's a general time people can last, it's somewhere between 3.5 to 4 hours. And then I'm pretty good at coaxing people into things, so I'll talk them into longer.
My longest tattoo that I've ever received myself, I don't have like a whole lot, was this one. This one was 4.5. And this one, like, I was a baby. I will not even try to act tough. I did not do good on that.
That could be treacherous right there.
Yeah.
For sure. Mine was 45 minutes to an hour, and I'm going to sound like such a wiener here. But it was about 45 minutes to an hour, and the reason why my throat is not finished specifically is because I tattoo every day, and so if I get this finished and it's nice and colored in, and I have my head down like this, it's gonna, for 8 hours the next day after getting it tattooed, it's just gonna stick to itself. I had that problem with this piece here. I got it all done in one session, which was no big deal. It was about 3 hours, and then the next day I'm tattooing like this all day long, and so it glued itself to itself for like 3 weeks, and it was done. I couldn't move. I had to reach things like this. I had to like get in my pocket like a pterodactyl, or alligator arms.
The human body is crazy.
Yeah, it was a terrible experience. So I didn't last very long on the throat for that reason, and it was really painful too. If anybody wants to know, that was my most painful.
Okay, so PD asks, what's the first tattoo that we ever received ourselves?
Very good question too. Nobody's asked that yet.
So I'll answer this one first since I have the stone. And I actually did this one on myself when I was 14 years old. And then I got it touched up like 3 years later when I got this one done.
That's got to be a little bit painful compared to the rest. No, wasn't too bad.
This one was the least painful one.
Oh, nice.
There's
Maybe I'll do it.
no bones in your lip.
Yeah, that's true. Just blood vessels, lots of them. So the first tattoo that I got was actually in a person's living room when I was 15, and it was on my ankle. And I know you're not going to like this answer, PD, and we appreciate you asking. By the way, I'm going to ask you a question in a second, so stay on here. I got it on my ankle. I will tell you that. It was not in color. I was 15, and I've never told anybody in the world what it is. It was nothing special. It was nothing fancy. I'll tell you that, at least that. It was nothing in any way glamorous, just something very simple. But I've never told anybody, and then I covered it. I covered it like 2 years later, and nobody remembers it because it was so small on my ankle that I just kind of like the fact that it's a secret I've kept my whole life, and I probably will never tell anybody until maybe my last breath or my deathbed. So if you're there and you ask, I will tell you. But I'm never going to tell anybody. So I'm sorry, Petey, that I won't answer it.
I'm going to be there.
Yeah, you'll find out what it is. Mm-hmm. So nobody in the world actually knows.
I'm going to send you a bunch of flowers.
And like, don't croak, I'm coming over.
You better last 15 more minutes. I'm on my way to ask you.
Find out. Maybe we'll do a Q&A if I'm, on my croak and on my deathbed.
I won't know.
But Petey, so I'm going to ask you a question. Where are you from, and are you subscribed, or are you just checking this out on the live? But let us know where you're from. And matter of fact, anybody else on here too, whether you're local or afar, let us see where you guys are from. So type in here. Let us know what's going on.
We are live from a tattoo shop. We are here to answer any tattoo-related questions or artist questions or just questions about what it's like to be in a shop.
Yep, absolutely.
Anything.
This is really fun for us too, by the way. It's a really great way for us to connect with you guys. I know I enjoy it immensely. Felicia, as soon as this is over, because we do it once a week, that's all she does is talk about it all week long. I'm just kidding. But she does.
I'm like, you ready for the live?
Yeah.
Tomorrow?
She's like excited about it. So it's really cool to actually have that. It's awesome. So we appreciate you guys, of course, and it's a lot of fun for us. So we just want to let you know that. And of course, asking questions is super fun. Sometimes people ask questions we won't answer, but most of the time you guys are rad. So we appreciate that. So we got Fresno Clovis. Yeah, you guys let us know where you're calling from. Where you calling from? Where are you commenting from? Or where you guys at? Where are you watching from? Where are you viewing from? What's the right way to say it? Where are you?
Where's everyone from?
Yeah. Where are you currently watching this?
Where's
Probably
everyone
from your phone, but where are you guys at? So let's go up a little further real quick. I need to get a mouse. I don't always have to do this. So Petey, wow, I'm glad. I kind of just exposed your secret. Yes, sort of, a little bit. So Carson's saying he had to switch to a different account. It wouldn't let me comment on my main account. Carson, it didn't let you comment maybe because you weren't logged in. If you're not logged in, then you can't comment, but I'm glad you're here. So ask away, although we do have a question for you. Carson, if you want to ask your question that you submitted on Instagram, you can, but we're going to get to that in a minute, so totally up to you. Okay, where are we at?
How did you come up with your shop name? Obviously, I know, but tell the audience.
Very nice. I don't know that you know. Actually, before I answer it, why don't you just give me a hint? Let me know. Let me know what you think it is, and maybe I'll tell you the truth. I'm very secretive, guys. I like to hide details into life, whether it's in my tattoos or into my life in general. I like to hide details everywhere. They're everywhere. They're just lurking everywhere. So yes, let me know what you know, and then I'll answer it. I'm gonna ask the next one. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Zach Ever. I don't know if that's your real name, but that would actually be pretty cool. First off, you guys, let us know where you're at. So, Zach, Vegas. Cool.
Nice.
Thank you. Downtown Fresno. She's at work. I know where she works. Sachi, you're awesome.
I hope you're having a good shift.
Yes, she is a rock and roll star. So she's actually been here. She got her whole Galaxy arm tattoo. Were you here when she was doing that?
Yeah.
That's
What's
her.
up?
What's up, Chica?
What's up, Chica?
I'm forgetting what the question was now. My sister's question that I'm not going to answer until she says something. Zach Ever said, "Do you ever done any anime tattoos?" We've answered this before.
Yes. Even though I am new, I sure have. I just did a line work piece, which is just what he has on his neck, an outline, nothing too shaded or anything, of Todoroki from My Hero Academia on somebody's arm. My cat scratches.
And mine is Full Metal. Wait, what am I saying?
Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes, Full Metal Alchemist.
Good one.
It was a long time ago, and it was really popular at the time. I think it still is.
Yeah.
But it was a big deal, and it was the blue guy who lost his arm and had a brother who died. But I don't know. That's all I know. I have no idea who the rest is. Maybe somebody on here can answer that. It was a really long time ago, but it was a lot of fun.
Dylan Woods asks, "What's your take on hand tattoos?"
What's your take on hand tattoos? Do you want to go?
I like to do them because I like a challenge. I'm new, but they are hard to heal, and we're gonna be friends. You're gonna be coming back to the shop a few times because
they come off.
They come off.
They fade.
The skin on our hands sheds thousands of cells every single day, especially when we're washing our hands, using them every single day.
Yes.
So as long as you're up for seeing your tattoo artist a couple times and tipping them for a good touch-up, then
right. Bring cash.
Bring cash.
Bring cash.
And bringing good attitude, and
yeah,
I like them.
Right. And a lot of, to answer that in another way too, a lot of it has to do with the condition of your hands. It really depends on the person. Most girls have no problem with it. For the most part, they take very good care of their hands. But there's a lot of dudes who will come in and their hands are just so jacked that it's not going to work. Whether it's on the fingers, the palm, but even sometimes knuckles and top of the hand, it's such hard skin. So the best thing to do is actually prep your skin ahead of time. This is true for any tattoo, but especially hands. Keep them clean, obviously, as long as you can, and keep them out of the sun. Keep them obviously not damaged, let them heal. But if you have to get, what is it called? Manicures for the hands?
Yeah.
Pedicures for the hands?
Man hand.
Man hands.
Yeah.
So get some manicure hands and start using some sort of, lotion or something like that. That'll condition your skin to be easier to tattoo. That's a big deal before you even get the tattoo, but it's also true afterwards. Just take really good care of your hands, which is really hard to do if you're a mechanic, construction worker or something.
Okay, so the next question, Jeremy Gomez asks, and he asks, what's the longest amount of total time you think you have tattooed on one single person?
So why don't you answer that first?
5 hours.
5 hours. Oh, we did say this already. Well, that was your limit, but I don't know if you said you actually tattooed somebody.
I have tattooed somebody for 5 hours. I tattooed the tip of somebody's sternum till the bottom. It was like a as above, so below piece, and it was like a diamond going from like the tip of their sternum, or the middle of their sternum, to
Like
the
almost,
very, like right
almost
above
belly
the
button.
belly button. Yeah.
That's a sensitive place. It's hard to tattoo
Yeah.
because it's so soft. It just pushes away from you as you're trying to do your work. But that's a long time right there, for sure.
Yeah. What about you?
Mine is easy. So we did answer it a minute ago. If you guys are watching, we'll repeat it again, of course, for you. But mine was 9 hours. Dude just gets out of prison, brought a beer and a pizza over and said, here's the cash. Let me know how long you can work for. And we went for 9 hours. And I just got after it. It was a bunch of Viking stuff and touch-up stuff and add-tos and skulls and stuff. So kind of classic white guy prison sort of tattoos. But it was really cool. It was a lot of fun. Currently, we read that. So.
And then can we scroll down a little bit?
Yeah. Let me make sure we didn't miss anything. I hate to miss you guys. If I do, I'm sorry. You can always ask twice. I'm trying not to. I need a mouse so I don't have to reach over. Yes. So let's see if she answered that at all. Let's take a look here. Okay. So this is, the old question was, where'd you get your shop name? She said she knew, and she says, and I asked her to answer it, Rochelle. So she's saying, because you hike in the Sierras, and also significant to Toshni in your last encounter. Yes, very true. So she knows. The worst place I've ever been in my life was called the High Sierra Trail, and it's a HST, and it was the worst day of my life. So I figured, why not start a business, which is going to be hard. I heard Elon Musk once said that starting a business is like chewing glass and staring off into the abyss. So I didn't know what that meant, but I assumed he's smarter than me and has more experience. So why not name it after something that's a lot like chewing glass and staring off to the abyss? So High Sierra Tattoo Co. I added the C, but that's what it's after. It's the worst place I've ever been in my life. So yeah, in case anybody wants to know, won't go too much into it, but thanks, sis, for asking the question, and thanks for answering. Yeah, there we go. And so now we'll go back to some of the questions that we just kind of skipped over.
Carson asked, do you use different machines for shading / line work, ? Or do you use adjustable strokes on one machine? Okay, so you kind of did answer your own question within the question. Yeah, you're right. We have one machine, and what it is not the machine, but it's the needles. It's the needles that's the difference. So we have liners, shaders, mags, round liners, taper shades.
Yeah, there's lots of different types of needles and needle configurations. But if we're using cartridge, meaning pen-style machines or cartridge-style grips, then it's going to be it's really the needle grouping that we can switch out really quickly, which is nice. But if you're using coil machines, traditional coil machines or rotaries of that sort, it's going to be a little bit different. Some rotaries are even like coil machines, but you definitely, typically I would have 4 machines out for a really good portrait, because I didn't want to switch out my needles on one machine, and it would take 5 minutes between the two, and it was just a hassle. And I had to have 3 machines, 3 grips, 3 needles running to do my job until they discovered the pen machine. And the pen machine, or at least the ergo machines, where you can just, for anybody watching, even though Carson probably already knows this, he's seen it, and some of you might be familiar, I will show you what I mean. So this is the pen machine. This is not used. This is for demonstration purposes, so you guys don't freak out. Probably because our faces are there won't show it. But anyway, this is the cartridge that has the needle in it. Some of you are very familiar with. This plugs into the machine, and that is that quick. And then I can start working. And then if I want a different needle for a different technique, then I can take it out and put a different one in. And it's that easy. One machine, one job, ready to rock and roll, minimalistic as hell. And I really like that. So brought to you by High Sierra Tattoo Company. Well, not this machine, but the information is brought to you by us. So that's my answer for that. you can have 4, 5, 6, 7 of these out at a time, depending on what you're doing, and one of these. And it used to be the exact, well, not the exact opposite, but it used to be you had to have a 4, 5 to 7 coil machines out, each set up with the right needle configuration. Not fun. I don't miss that. So that's my answer to that.
Okay.
Carson, thanks for the question. I should say before we actually move on too far, there is one minor detail because he's asking to use adjustable strokes. So this machine right here can adjust. I will show it to you. This is exclusive, and I'm only doing this because I love you guys. And if I am on camera not able to do it, that will be slightly embarrassing.
It's okay.
I'll get it right now.
I wouldn't be able to do it.
My slick hands.
I'm barbarous.
It's my slick hands and
Usually have
A&D. So this right here is the actual motor. Let's see if it will. I don't think it'll focus on it because it's going to focus on our faces. Maybe if we hide, if we hide and do it this way, maybe it will. So it's not. But here is the motor, and this is the cam that the motor's on, which has the stroke on it, and means you can actually switch these little things out and get a different stroke. So it's a little bit of work to do, so you wouldn't do it necessarily mid-tattoo, but it does provide you with some adjustability for whether or not you like a long stroke, short, or you're doing shading, lining, or whatever. I use one that I like to use. I use one that's kind of a good length for both, so I can line or shade or pat color with it. It's not always, if it's universal for all three, then it's not going to be the best for all three, but to me it's better than having to switch things out and have multiple machines. So that was a little demonstration. That was fun.
That's a good one.
So
Because not everyone knows
true.
how it works.
And it gets very complicated very quick, so you could talk about that for forever. Maybe one day we actually will on here. That'd be kind of fun. Jeremy is stating that he has 36 total hours from me, and most of the time we sit for 4 to 6 hours on him. He's pretty covered. It's Gomez. He was just here again, the portrait.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Gomez is quite covered.
That makes sense.
Some really cool stuff on him.
Yeah.
So, Petey, can you read that for me?
Petey is from, Petey asks, what's the most expensive tattoo you've done?
I like that.
Now, I did kind of answer this last time, but it was that big piece that started in the middle of the young woman's sternum and ended about right above her belly button area. So it was like a big diamond, this big. And
5
since
hours.
I'm new, that's the most expensive one I've done so far. And that came out to $6 with color.
Nice. So my it's a little hard for me to answer that because I've tattooed for so long and I've done some really big pieces. But I can tell you this, that the biggest tip I've ever had, which is almost bigger than most of the tattoos I charge for in one session, but the biggest tip I ever had for a session was I think it was $1,200. So Linda, if you're watching this, I love you, Linda. I really do.
Linda.
I know. I just love you. Matter of fact, she doesn't watch this kind of stuff, but her daughter does. So Linda's daughter, if you're watching this, just tell her I love her. And it's not because of the money. It's I think the money came after the love. So that's all good. But Linda is awesome. She's a wonderful lady. And she loves the tattoos I give her. It makes her feel beautiful. She's like, well, I won't tell her age, but she's an experienced woman.
Beautiful.
She's a beautiful, experienced woman, and I love her to death. So, Linda, thank you. But yeah, $1,200 was my biggest tip. I don't remember what I charged for that tattoo, but if you add it all up, that would definitely be probably one of them.
That's insane.
Yes.
Linda is a beautiful person.
You're awesome. Come in. Yes, you come in anytime. And Petey's saying he's from Clovis. So he's...
And he follows me on social media.
Awesome.
Hi, Petey. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, super cool. So, Petey, what's up, man? Rad. Thanks for the questions, by the way. So, Cycle Queen.
Cycle Queen 420.
Yeah, this must be Shannon. She's saying I did her anime Full Metal. Yes.
Oh,
that's her.
That's her. That's
so
awesome.
she's watching the Full Metal question earlier, or the anime question earlier. That's her. She's on here. So, yeah, awesome. That's really cool.
Dylan, you guys are not getting your hand done. Yeah, sorry.
I'm pretty sure he's like a helicopter mechanic.
Yeah.
So I think that's what he does. You can let us know if we're wrong about that.
You can always wait until after if you really love it. If you really have a design that you're stuck on.
Mm-hmm. I think Gomez is asking another question, although there's no question mark. I think
What
so.
is the total hours collectively on one person throughout multiple projects that you have done? I myself don't have a whole lot of experience. Do you want to answer this one?
Sure. On one person throughout multiple projects, it's really hard, but I have guessed before. The most tattooed person is a really good friend of mine. And he is about as covered as you can get neck down, not neck, but from the neck down, torso down. And I've just about covered his whole torso, knuckles, fingers, hands, chest. We're working on his back now, but we've done his legs. And I would have to say, just guessing, it's over 1,000 hours. I've been tattooing him for over 15 years. And I really started with working on this guy in a lot of ways. Like my good work started with this kid. He's my age now, but we were kids then. And it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of work. When you get tattooed, one thing that happens really quickly as you start to collect more and more and get more and more coverage is you start to look at other people, and instead of just looking at admiring their work, you start to admire the pain that they went through and they had to go through to earn what they have, as well as the time and the commitment. A lot of people think of it as like cool factor until they start getting into it and realize, wow, this is actually way more of a commitment than they expected, which is very respectable if somebody, commits to that and you get to witness that through their tattoos, but also the pain that they've had to endure. It's remarkable to see people, and when you're initiated, you look at people that way, maybe a little differently, just because you can, absolutely sympathize. And I think it's really cool. It's a way to earn the art that you have and you walk around with. So yeah, maybe 1,000, I would say, Jeremy. Sis likes it. He brought cash. That's right. Bring cash. We need a shirt.
Bring cash.
We need a shirt. Bring cash. Yes. Don't be dumb. Bring cash. So, Susan, can you use anything for pain on sensitive places? Why don't you answer that?
I don't know the name of it. I actually...
A product?
I can find it real quick.
Yeah.
It's on my Amazon cart.
So while she's looking for that, yes, you absolutely can. I don't recommend it for all tattoos. It does absolutely affect the skin and the way that it gets tattooed. So for me on portraits and the kind of stuff that I do, I typically don't like to use it just because it will absolutely change the canvas I'm working on. And when I'm doing portraits, it's kind of a big deal.
Okay, so most tattoo artists will use Numb B20.
I don't know why it doesn't like to focus on anything but us. It loves us. The camera loves us. You're like,
but
get it.
the main ingredient in this is lidocaine. They're not allowed to sell anything less than 6%.
Anything more.
Or anything more than 6%.
I think
without a prescription. So
I think it's 5 or 6. Anything more than that, you have to be a licensed doctor, or you have to have it administered to you by somebody licensed. And it usually gets not topical but injected.
But I think it's a placebo.
Do you? Well, real lidocaine is absolutely will numb you completely to the touch. But there's definitely going to be some that are more of a placebo, and then people say, "Oh, it feels so much better." Because I've done it before where I've actually used a spray that was just to lubricate the tattoo during, and they were like, "Oh, did you put numbing stuff on there?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And like, "Oh, I could totally tell." I'm like, "I didn't," but
I didn't.
Cool. So the placebo effect does definitely work. But if it's actual lidocaine, then it'll 100% work. So that would be the ingredient that's going to be in most of these products, almost all of them. I just don't recommend it for anything other than really painful or small tattoos, just because if I can avoid using it, I will, because it changes the skin. And for me, doing portraits and realism, that really affects the process. And it also gets people addicted, meaning during the tattoo that I can use more. They think that you're going to do it once. And as you use more, it makes it worse. And there's other products out there that have other ingredients that can really jack up the skin during the session.
That's how the girl was when I was doing her stomach. She's like, "Can you use more?" I'm like, "It's not gonna do anything.
Yeah, it's not gonna do
just
anything.
gonna wipe off the stencil."
So
girl.
that's when you just take some ointment and be like, "Yeah, I'll put it on there." And then you put ointment on them, and then they're like, "Oh,
that's what he did.
Better.
I put on some A&D ointment.
That's great. So that really works. So yes, you can use things for pain in sensitive places. Okay. So I don't know if there's any more. I'm trying to scroll with you guys. I don't have a mouse, so I have to Use my
PD.
long arm.
PD asks, has anyone asked you to do freestyle on them, or would you enjoy a freestyle tattoo if you were given the opportunity?
We're not switching, but here you go.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Bring cash.
Bring cash. Did you realize that would be like a perfect little clip just to put on Instagram, just right there? That's going to be it.
That's gonna
We're
be
gonna we're gonna edit that, and you guys are gonna see it all over social media.
But yeah, I mean, it just depends on what you are wanting. But I've always wanted to be given the opportunity to freehand whatever I wanted. Like for somebody to just be like, freehand whatever you want on me, go.
Yeah, it's
That'd
cool.
be amazing.
It's a lot of fun. But you've never done that necessarily. No. It's always stenciled or drawn. Yeah. See, freehand can mean a few things.
Actually, I have freehanded my very, very, very first tattoo that I did on somebody else. The Nirvana smile, I did that one freehand drawn.
Perfect.
That's fun. But that was just like a symbol. My
very first tattoo was also freehand, so that's cool. That's really cool. Mine was a witchcraft symbol, but it was a little easier to make scratchy, so it was okay. It was hard to screw. It's hard to screw up some of these images, which is what you want to pick when you first start. But for me, yeah, has anybody asked me? All the time. They don't always actually commit to it. They'll say, do whatever you want. And then I throw out some ideas or show them some examples. And they're like, not necessarily that. Nothing that's going to keep me out of going to church. Or ruin my job. So yeah, people want to be more conservative and are usually a little more ambitious than they realize they're going to commit to. But I love when they do. And when they do, I'm typically going for realism portraits, black and gray, and just something really dark in terms of tones. And so I can really, and of course, if they have really pale skin, it makes it really easy to get like any type of image out as possible. But if they have darker skin, a lot of times what I'll do is pick the right image so that it's really contrasty and they get the most out of it. So it'll have to be up to the person's, skin tones to really pick the right images. But whenever they ask me that, I'm pumped. I'm like super happy. And it probably is less than like 5% of my customers, but sometimes it's in and out of their idea, then my idea, their idea. They'll get something and then say, whatever you want it to fill it in with, do that. It's cool. It's really cool.
Rochelle says she did that. Yours was freestyle, or that hers was freestyle.
Yes. I don't know if she's talking about the one I did for her, but I definitely designed a piece for her. So some people do think that freestyle is like, I drew it and then stamped it on you, or I drew it on you and then tattooed it, or I didn't draw anything and I just started tattooing you. So there's kind of 3 different ways people consider, maybe not tattoo artists, but people look at it, like customers look at it as like, if he drew it and then stamps it on you and then tattoos it, that's freestyle.
Yeah. Or
freehand. And then if they took a marker and drew it on you, not on paper, but just drew it on you, then that's freehand.
That's how I view freehand.
Yeah.
Like,
I think of it
like
as
a marker, like freehand. Right. But like
no tracing stencils or
no
guides.
Like if you're like, even if you drew it on your computer and used a stencil, that's like a stencil.
Right.
That's a perfected computer making sure that it's
not necessarily freehand. You have a guide, so less freehand. Sometimes people think freehand's like when I made the whole image but then stenciled it as well and created something for them but put it with a stencil or transferred it, then most people don't consider that freehand, but it can be looked at that way, and people do oftentimes think that it is, so I go with it.
Carson S. also has a really good question. He asks, do we buy our own specific gray wash or do we mix our own?
So let's see. Both. Yeah, we do both. I don't want to say it's a trade secret, but it's more of a personal preference, and learning from people who know what they're doing really helps. It's really complicated because there's many ways to do that to accomplish what you're asking. I love the pre-mix stuff though, for the consistency and because you start to get used to it and you know exactly what you're using. I would recommend doing that, even though it's really expensive that way. It's definitely preferable for consistency. It's way more fun. So, by the way, I'm working on not going while talking. So when you hear it, get me. So I'm working on not doing when I talk. Instead of ums, I don't mind. It's the. So sorry guys for ear to death. So did you answer that? Did I answer that? Oh, you didn't say anything.
Answered it. I haven't done a whole lot of shaded pieces to where I've needed to buy gray wash. So in my new brain, my new baby artist brain that doesn't know a whole lot about tattooing, I think it's kind of pointless to buy a gray wash when you can make it your own with water and black ink.
I think that's a good way to look at it. And most artists in the past, that's exactly what they did. Because if you could buy a bottle of black or a bottle of gray, gray's just watered down black. So you're buying less material, but for the same price, sometimes even more. And it's not always consistent, meaning you can't always find the same bottle, and then products come in and out, so they change it, which is really annoying. So if you're just using black and you know how to mix it, then that's a really good way to, you should at least know how, for sure, to dilute it. But when it's real black, lining black or jet black or something like a super black or super black, you're going to water the hell out of it. Like, it does not need a whole lot of color in there to make it a great wash. So just keep that in mind. Not that this is telling you guys how to tattoo, but if you are tattooing, and that's theoretically how you would do it. Yes, bring cash. Everybody likes to bring cash. I like to bring cash. I don't remember where it started.
You started it.
Did I?
Yeah, I remember where it was from.
And I think somebody liked it, and then we just kept doing it. But I really dig it because it's one of the sweetest things you could do is bring cash. You know you're getting tattooed. A lot of times your appointment's set, so you know when the date is. Even if you're walking in, you have a plan. So bring cash. Artists love that. We're hardworking, backbreaking, just sons of guns, and we like to do our best. And when cash comes in, it's really exciting because it's real. It's here. It's a reward. Let's do it. It's like
got it. It's like, yeah.
That doesn't look right. It's like awesome. Yeah. Bring cash.
Susan asks, when it comes to inks, are some better than others? How long can you keep inks, and do they expire? I'm going to ask you this also because I've been wondering the exact same thing.
Okay. So this is a good time to share with you.
I have some inks that I don't want to go
so
to waste.
let's direct that to you. So Susan, mother, thanks for asking. If anybody want to give credit to any of the artwork that I do, you can give it to my mom because she made me. She's awesome. She's a great mother. P.S. I love you. So yes, they do expire. And there are some inks definitely better than others. There's plenty of knockoff stuff. There's plenty of stuff that gets recalled. So I have to constantly, weekly, maybe even daily, be looking at the health department websites to make sure there's not things on there that they're recalling and that we're using. So that isn't uncommon because there are just there's so many options out there, and there's so many new brands, and it's growing so much. And now that there's a lot of shipping issues and product demand and supply and demand issues, there's more people locally coming up with these products. So you really have to be careful because they're new to the industry. So to answer it that way, there's definitely some better than others. I really only use two. It's Fusion and Eternal. That's the two that I use. And when it comes to blacks, I might skip around a little. But yeah, they're definitely not all the same. The better the quality of the ink, it really makes a absolute massive difference and how they heal, but also just what it looks like in longevity. And then how long can you keep it to expire? That's the part that's important. So the expiration dates do exist. We live in California, so we're the most regulated in almost everything, but especially tattoo inks. The inks themselves, as well as like our cartridges and packages and blister packages, all have dates on them, and they do expire, and you're, of course, absolutely not allowed to use them afterwards. Now, that really only applies, and I shouldn't really say this as gospel. Let's say allegedly that only really applies to places like California because we're so strict. Health departments in other places may or may not, possibly, you'll have to find out yourself if you guys are looking, regulate that. So that's definitely something we have to watch out for. And even if this wasn't an issue, they do dry up 100%. They start to separate, and they can dry up, and the base compound will completely separate and harden, so you can't use it anymore. So they definitely have a shelf life for sure.
Is there a color ink you don't like tattooing with? I noticed that whenever I've tattooed red ink in people, it's a hit or a miss. Like, some people's skin likes it, some people don't. But when people ask for line work, like cursive with red ink, I feel like I'm rolling dice.
Yeah, it's not easy to line with color in general, but red's a spicy one. Red is a spicy one. My answer to that is only for personal preference reasons, not necessarily for the ability to use it as a tool, because some inks are really hard. Some pigments are really hard to do certain techniques with because they're thicker or thinner or runnier. It's just going to be different to brand, but also there's just certain colors that don't act the same as others. So there's reasons why they do or don't make for good lining or color packing or shading even. So there's a color I don't like using, and people hate me for this because it's purple. I just don't enjoy purple. I don't like purple. I don't think it looks good. I think it's too close to like a gray. People with dark skin, for example, it looks like black. People with really light skin, it can look really ashy and kind of like I just don't like it. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of purple in general, but I especially don't like using it in tattoos, although I'll do my best, so nobody worry. Yeah, that's my answer. Purple. I'm just going to throw my purple away.
You like this ring?
No, I don't. You know what?
You were going to say yeah.
You know what?
You were going to say yeah.
Because I love you. But look, purple
I love you too.
when I look at this, you know what it reminds me of? Kool-Aid. Purple Kool-Aid. Grape Kool-Aid.
does.
Grape Kool-Aid is terrible.
It's awful.
I'm going to get
Nobody likes a grape
you know
candy.
What? Somebody's going to
If you
ban
pretend
this
you're lying.
video. They're going to hate it, and they're going to share it, and I'm going to be ostracized forever for saying that grape Kool-Aid is terrible. It's just terrible. Who drinks that? It's not good. So I don't like using purple PD. I don't like using that goes well together. I don't like using purple PD. They do make really cool names for these pigments too, if you guys didn't know. I'll read a couple if you don't mind.
Good idea.
So let's see here. We have really I'm going to do it off camera, guys. They have really red, which isn't as quirky. True blue, so they get a little creative. Atomic yellow. These are some of the colors. Cotton candy. Cotton candy is really cool, guys.
Pink.
Look at that. Cotton candy. It's really a pretty color. But these are some of the names. They make them really interesting. Some of them are not. They used to be quite vulgar, but like slime green and that kind of stuff. So PD purple. Maybe that would be a cool color. Maybe one day they'll come out with it. Somebody will watch this and go, man, we need to develop this. So PD might be famous one day. Okay. Was there anything else? Let's see. Carson, you want to read that one for me in the middle?
There was a study where I saw some of the knockoff Chinese ink contained a portion of bacteria from feces in it.
Yes, Carson. You have to be very careful what you get, for sure. And sometimes people actually
Can you guys drop like a link so I can like look at like what happened?
You
That's
read that for me,
insane.
because
Yeah,
I'm going to stay away.
I will read that.
They will make products, of course, you know this, but they'll make knockoff products that are not real, and they look almost identical. Again, local health departments get this news and they'll share it with us. There's times where you can go on there and look, and they'll tell you how to spot these products, because they are on the lookout for them. People are on the lookout for phony stuff. People are on the lookout for dangerous stuff. So that is pretty gross. That's some shitty ink, I might say. It's a really crappy color, Carson. That's all you got there is a knockoff of a really crappy color. Just really stinks.
It really stinks.
It's the new scratch and sniff brown. Scratch and sniff. Okay.
Oh.
It's like scratch and sniff. Whoever has a really bad knockoff Chinese ink that has portions of bacteria in it from feces, you now have a scratch and sniff tattoo.
Poor baby.
Yes. So I was a crappy artist.
Sorry, you got tattooed by that.
So let's go to Rochelle.
Rochelle, how much H2O do you drink daily? And make it tattoo related. Does being hydrated help the tattoo experience? Well, from experience, I have noticed that the days that I go in to get a tattoo where I haven't really necessarily planned to get a tattoo, I didn't really have a good meal right before, and I maybe only had 1 glass of water earlier that morning, I definitely get a lot more worn out and drained faster while getting tattooed. Like this one, I could barely handle this one because I was getting burnt out. So I mean, that's just a everyday thing, like energy level too. It's good to stay hydrated just so you don't pass out as a human doing everyday activities.
Yes. Yeah, you are mostly made up of what ingredient?
Water.
Water,
For
which is
70%.
made up of. Well, it says in the name H2O, hydrogen, 2 parts hydrogen, or 1 part hydrogen, 2 parts oxygen. I believe that's how it goes. Maybe the opposite. But hydrogen and oxygen are incredibly important because your body's mostly made of that. I think next would be carbon, but you don't drink carbon, so you need to drink water. It's very, very important. And yes, it absolutely, to make it tattoo related, it's 100% super important because the condition of your skin makes a lot of difference in how the tattoo heals, as well as the process itself. It's way easier to tattoo on healthier skin than it is. Actually, that's not true. It's actually easier to tattoo on really fragile skin. It just takes, the needle no problem because there's no resistance, not healthy, but it doesn't heal well and it doesn't look good in the long term. So the healthier the skin.
This is a really good example of when I got tattooed when I wasn't so healthy, like a year ago. It looks like a stamp right now. It could look a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your health has a lot to do with it. How you heal and how you receive the tattoo. It definitely has something to do with it, no doubt. That's definitely a big deal. And Shannon was saying that I tattooed purple on her, and she's apologizing. Do not apologize. I appreciate you, and I hope all is well, Shannon. So, Carson, Mom's ink is pretty vulgar like that. LOL. Yes, he's right. So, in case you guys don't know, I think he means like the names that they give him to him. But yeah, and actually, well, I won't say anything bad about it because I used it for years, but I don't use it anymore for a few reasons.
I just looked at the reviews on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's some companies, again, I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus or, being scientific with you guys in this way, but there are some inks and pigments, we can call it, Carson, for your information. There's some that have products in it that you don't want to have in your body. So, you should be conscious of that. And as an artist, as a professional, it's our job to make sure we're protecting ourselves and our customers and at least letting them know minimum what it is we're using on them. So finding things that are safer is better. Well, again, I won't get into the science. I could talk about that for a little while, but that's for a different day in a more professional environment. But there is a lot of information about ink out there and being safe. So obviously that's the material you're leaving in the end. So you want to be really careful with it and use something that's trusted. So when I find something I like, I stick with it and I really don't vary too much.
Rochelle, go you. I can't believe you drink a gallon a day. I am not that good. I need to get a lot better. I need to get what Minna has. Minna has a gallon jug water bottle, and it has time marks on it. Like, it says 7 a.m., like, good morning. And, yeah, it's marked with, like, a bunch of cute stuff. I need to get one of those. Yeah, water's a big deal. Makes it fun.
Water's a big deal. It's hard to do when you're a tattoo artist because you got to get up all the time and use the little voice room. So it makes it very difficult. So I drink it like early in the morning and later in the day. I almost never drink it during my
I don't like going to the bathroom either.
Yeah, it's really difficult when you're in the middle of a tattoo every 30 minutes to an hour.
Especially when you're small and you have a small bladder. So it's like I'm always in the bathroom. Like, anyways, I don't even drink that much water. Like
sometimes you just need a bathroom break.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Possibly. You never know. Yeah. And
yummy water.
My mom's saying yummy water. She must love that stuff.
Water is good.
My
mom is right.
She looks very young for her age, so maybe that's one of her secrets. Plus, she's very careful with sun damage, or at least she used to be. So she's really good with that. Yeah.
I'm the exact same way. I don't leave the house without sunscreen.
So technically, we haven't even gotten to, although some have been answered because the questions answered earlier have been asked by people who are currently live with us, which means we've answered a few of them, but I'm going to go ahead and go over them. And you guys are so kind to ask them online, and I asked you to ask them. So this is me responding. Dylan, who's on here. See, I'm doing it again. You heard it? You need like a little thing. Swatter. Yeah. There you go. That's going to be it. See, this is the question he asked. He asked, what's your favorite music tattoo that you've done? If you guys weren't watching already, I said it was Doyle. Did I do it? I almost did.
Almost.
I'm stopping. See, just sit there. Be ready. Be at the ready. She's trying to keep me from making the lip smacking whatever sound. So Dylan, yes, I answered that. Mine was I tattooed Doyle from the Misfits on somebody, and it was really great, and he approved of it. He actually saw it and loved it. Well, he told me to tell her mom sorry. But anyway, that was it. And you answered that already. You answered that. You didn't answer that. Did you have a favorite tattoo? Yes, you did. You told us.
Did I?
Yeah. What was your favorite tattoo? As a person or a band or something? But you want to redo it because it was so good. That's what you said.
That's not what I
Okay.
said. I've never done one. I don't think I have.
So the next one, this is the mini Megatron, which is the mini Susan, who's on here, and maybe even considered mini Rochelle. Tell us about your organ family. So I'll tell you about my organ family, mini Megatron, asking this through Instagram. They are on our, right now, YouTube Live. So that's what I'll tell you about my organ family. I have one sister asking me here about my organ family, and I have a sister and my mom currently watching us live, which is super awesome. And I love my family, so that's really fun. By the way, I should mention this since she's saying, tell us about your organ family. One of the reasons I like to do what I do, and it's not just that I'm having fun all the time and it's always fun and games. It's a lot of hard work, and most of my family know that I pour a lot into it. And they're this is going to sound really cheesy, but definitely the reason why we do this is for not just for ourselves and not just for our customers, but for me, I'm, happy to say that not even necessarily just my kids, my immediate family, but for my family to be, someone they can look up to and maybe pave a way for. This is something that I like to, I respect highly what I do because I have really great parents who did a lot for me in life. So what would I be if I just squandered that and didn't do something I enjoyed? Like my dad always tells people, he goes, I don't really care what my kids do as long as it's something they wanted to do. That's all he cares about. He doesn't care if I flip burgers or make coffee. That's exactly what he says. He just wants me to be doing something that I want to do, the way I want to do it. And he actually said that recently. He's very proud of his kids for that very reason.
Oh.
Is that your boy? You can go let him in. We're going to go ahead and let Felicia, a customer, in. So, guys, give us a second. All right, so I answered that question. I'm going to answer the next one. This is actually from Facebook. And let's see what questions we have that came on from there. Okay, so Ashley Parker said, the age-old question, do you take walk-ins for consultation? Maybe she says, do you take walk-ins or consultations? And answering that is really easy. Yes, we do walk-ins. We have a few girls here that do that. It's not always available. So the best way to do it is to go to our website and actually go to our contact, fill it out, and we respond to you best we can. Although that sometimes falls through the cracks too. So just warning you guys, we're very busy. We have a lot going on and we do our best, but walking in is always the best way to communicate with us, just not always going to get you an appointment. We try to schedule things because we're quite fond of being a custom tattoo shop, not necessarily picking flash off the wall. So that's going to take a little more time for us to create images for you, but we do time to time have room for walk-ins for piercings or walk-ins in general. Does this thing scroll? No, sorry.
PD asks, when did you know tattooing was something you liked or something you wanted to pursue? You did already answer this one earlier.
Yes, but he's going, you got to flick me. You got to do it. Yep, I'm going to stop making that noise. So he's kind of going a little further back, though, in this. He kind of asked what got you started, right? But when did you know that you wanted to get started? He's kind of going a little further back, I think.
Yeah, like when were you certain?
Mm-hmm. Mine's really easy to answer. Do you want to answer that? Like, did you have a moment? Like, was there a moment where you thought, this is it, or that's what I want to do? Or did you think, like, over time you kind of developed a curiosity and maybe one day followed it?
Yeah, over time I more so developed a curiosity because I had an ex-boyfriend that did it, and I would watch him at his shop, but he was really not as humble as the people at this shop were welcoming with the clients. So I got to see one extreme, and I saw how the clients responded, and I noticed that they probably would have responded a lot better if his approach was a lot different. So I figured maybe I could be that person to do that.
So you did it. You're doing it. You're really doing it.
I'm doing it.
You're doing it. She's doing it. Bring cash.
Bring cash.
Bring cash. So she's doing it, and you guys can bring cash. Mine's really easy. I knew I wanted to be a tattoo artist the moment I did my first tattoo. I always wanted to be an artist for tattoo shops. I figured back in the 90s that's what people did. They drew images, and shops bought them from them and would use them as their flash art on walls to pick from. So I thought I would do that. So I did actually start. I made a bunch of drawings, went to shops, tried to sell them. Nobody wanted them. I was 15, 16 years old, and they didn't want me in there. But I was determined, and one day I, at 15, got a chance to tattoo somebody. I've shared that story a few times, so I won't bore you again with it, but we'll probably share it maybe more in depth one day on a future episode. And I tattooed somebody and immediately knew that very second that I would be doing this for the rest of my life. And I stumbled across it. It just kind of was the right environment. It was happening. People asked me to do it. They kind of forced me to sit down and try it on somebody because I was previously already an artist. And I instantly knew, without a doubt, for a shadow of a doubt, I'd be doing it for the rest of my life.
That's kind of how it happened to me. Like, everyone kind of, like, knew that, like, I drew. Like, it was in my first apartment in right by San Diego State. And everyone knew that, like, I was, like, the drawer, and I was like the hippie that just smoked and like drew outside. So they're like, dude, like, come out here. Like, they knocked on my door. They're like, help us. And I did it. I did a little like
people are brave.
Little Nirvana smile, and I tried to do a couple finger tattoos that faded. Sorry, Reed. Sorry, Ty. But
yes, people get very, very brave, or they're very confident in somebody when they see their artistry, not necessarily tattooing, and then say, oh, tattoo me. They are, just for your guys' information, although we appreciate you guys for giving us those opportunities, we need those people, but there is a huge difference between what somebody could do on paper or drawing or painting or anything in terms of art. There's a huge difference between that and them being able to tattoo. I know some really great artists that are, in terms of tattooing, maybe not necessarily somebody I would say go to, and then I also know the opposite, people who aren't necessarily great artists, but when it comes to their tattoos are very solid. So it's two totally different things in a huge way. They do relate, of course, cross-platform, but they definitely, So be careful. Be careful who you go to. We did have one more question. I'm going to see if it's not something we've answered. He did ask this on here. So yes, Carson, thank you for your question. We kind of answered it because you asked it here on the live. So technically we went through our questions that were online. And so we are doing our best to answer all the ones. Hopefully you saw all the questions that were submitted here through the chat. We appreciate you guys for doing that. This is a lot of fun for us, correct?
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, right?
It is.
You're having fun.
I am having fun.
So yeah, this is really great.
I
am. I mean, my mom's on here, my sister's on here. Like, what the heck?
That was awesome. Really fun. Thanks for coming.
Yes, super cool. Carson is asking one last question. I just did it again. Oh, I gotta stop this. This lip smacking thing's gotta go.
I don't pay attention enough to like.
when I don't notice it until I edit all of this at the end, and then all I hear is, and I have to edit those out, and I just can't stand it.
Or maybe I just need to add some in.
There you go. So, Carson, you want to read that for us?
Many really. Carson asks, do you have any really embarrassing moments while in the middle of a tattoo?
Yes, great question, Carson. Great question.
Not for me.
Let's go ahead and start with the infamous Fel. How would you answer such a question? Any embarrassing stories in the middle of a tattoo?
I don't get embarrassed.
How about for the customer? Or a potential embarrassment for somebody?
A potential embarrassment would be all the drunk people in San Diego that I've tattooed. You guys have definitely embarrassed yourselves in front of me.
God bless their hearts.
Yeah, God bless your hearts. You guys are so sweet too.
Yeah.
Like,
old souls.
All the compliments, and I'm not gonna give you my number. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So don't embarrass yourself, guys. Don't be drunk. Don't get drunk. Don't drink.
Yeah. What about you?
Put it down. Put the bottle down. You don't need that.
Yeah.
Walk
some
away.
Water.
Get some water. Walk away from the bottle. Just walk away from it and bring cash. Walk away from the bottle and bring cash. So, Carson's asking, do I have any really embarrassing moments while in the middle of a tattoo? One specifically, and I cannot say her name because she was so embarrassed and almost looked like she was going to throw up. And I was tattooing her lower back. I'm right-handed. It's on her lower left back, which means she's laying down here. I have my arm like this. I'm going to town. By the way, I will also say, in case she knows who I'm talking about, she's an absolutely blessed woman by nature or God. She's a very blessed woman. She's very beautiful. So I'll throw that out there before I admit that, yes, she definitely passed one I mean, I'm literally like, come on, like I'm doing my thing.
Did her dress do the little wave thing?
You know, she was wearing jeans. But what's embarrassing is that I told her, I go, just being funny, I go, don't do this in my face, right? Like, please don't. And I'm going to town, and all I hear is just a little pop. And she looked back at me. She was ghost white, just ghost white, and she apologized and started basically tearing up.
Dude,
and
yeah, because like, you told her, her
I know, I
anxiety
said it.
was probably running through the roof.
And she was probably
thought
trying
you
to
were
hold
serious.
it and then couldn't, and then knew what she had done was
Poor
a
girl
sin.
probably had to go to the bathroom so bad
She
before
sinned.
that and just
She
didn't
did.
even want to tell you.
She's a sinner. She was such a sinner. And the way I saw it was some people in other countries probably pay really good money for that. So I just thought, you know what? I'm a lucky man. So that's a really embarrassing moment. The other ones are when people pass out. Phil, this should not be new news to you. This is not an unusual thing. People pay for weird. They pay for weird stuff.
Give me a little reaction too.
That's cool. That's great. So people who pass out, and that's pretty embarrassing.
No, well, I mean,
it's okay. Here's when it's embarrassing. When I've done 3 lines on you this long, or actually even better, I'll do you better. Again, I cannot throw out names because, well, they're just sensitive. Before I even tattoo you, this is embarrassing. You have to admit this is embarrassing. Before I even tattoo them, and I'm just drawing on them with a marker. Just drawing with a marker. Over. Done. Just like that. Yep, just like that. So that's pretty embarrassing. I actually had people fight. Well, I've had people fighting in the middle of the tattoo. I've even had people who have restraining orders on people, and they show up during the tattoo, and they're like, "Oh shit!" But don't worry, I'll handle it. But it's kind of embarrassing for people, to go through that environment. Yeah. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff from people tooting to people, crying and complaining, passing out, and or showing up with restraining orders. So there's a bunch of embarrassing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a really good way to embarrass yourself in a tattoo shop though is just to show up asking for a full sleeve. Oh, yeah. I think that's the easiest way to embarrass yourself in a tattoo shop.
Yeah.
And people don't realize it.
No, they don't.
It is a logical kind of question when coming from outside, outside of an artist's point of view. Sleeves look dope.
And they don't know.
Want one.
And they don't know. They have no idea.
But it's a process.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, it is difficult because from our end, we try not to be snobs about it. We want to be professionals. But there's those things like in any industry where there's going to be words, terminology, or phrases or references that are the cringe to that industry. It's happened already a few times on here. If you guys want to look back, you will know.
That's why I changed the name whenever I say it.
So there's some things we correct just because there's certain words and terminology, not to embarrass anybody, but there's just things that are that cringe-worthy sort of, this is
association that we don't want.
Yeah, we just don't use those words or associations. Yeah, we try to be as professional as possible and also not embarrass people. Part of my training for my apprentices is going to be really a lot of it's terminology. A lot of it's using the right words. Even sometimes when I say ink, I like to also reference it to being pigments because they're not inks, they're not dyes. And if anybody's in the cosmetic industry knows, when they say, I want to dye my hair, and the person's like, it's not, we don't dye, we color people's hair. So it's the right terminology. And every industry is going to have that, there's certain things. I would say if there's one big one for the tattoo industry, it's really simple. So I will admit this, and it's tats. Anybody says, nice tats, or I want a tat, or do you guys do tats, or what kind of tats do you, it's just that, saying it right now even is cringeworthy because, we try really hard to do our best at our craft, and it's just one of those words, and maybe it's just me, but there's definitely other people who don't like the word, but for me, it's really, it's a good one. Yeah, it's a good one. So don't use it. Just bring cash. Bring cash. Thank you very much for watching. Yes, we love you guys. Thank you for everything. So anyway, I think that's it. Yes. So Carson's saying,
God.
So I won't even say, that's
my word.
I can't even read that. I mean, I read it, but I'm not going to say it out loud. That word, I just can't do it. Carson, thank you so very much. Guy behind the camera back here is like, what is it? You're not fit. You need to log on to YouTube, and then you could watch the comments coming through. But you're not doing so. Yeah, I can't say that word, Carson, and I don't say that word. And my apprentices, when they first start, or anybody in training, there you go. I definitely stop them in their tracks from using those phrases. Outside the industry, maybe it's hard to understand, guys, but we just have certain terminologies that we definitely don't use. Mother, love you, and good night as well. Thanks for jumping on. I love you. I appreciate you. You're awesome. If anybody wants to know, she's absolutely amazing. So good night, Mother. It's so cool that she's on here. How rad is that? You should do this every time.
Night.
Mom,
it was nice meeting you, Susan. I'm sorry I can't see your face, but I'm glad you can get to see mine.
You get to see our doggy, Brutus.
Yeah, your doggy's so cute.
Yeah, Mr. Brutus. She loved him. So, good night, Mother, and thank you for everything. We will see you next Wednesday, since you're going to most likely be logging on and checking us out and asking questions. So, yes, feel free to ask anything you like, and we will see you next time. So, let's see. What is... oh, it's natural. So, when you're trying to hold it and your stomach makes that sound, you pretend it's because you're hungry.
What the fart?
Yeah. Yes, so I wish it was just her stomach that made the sound, but it wasn't. Yes. So, guys, we're going to end it here. This was our first YouTube live Q&A, first YouTube live anything. And I actually really liked the way it worked. It was really fun to engage with you guys. A lot of you from Facebook, when we used to do live there, came over here, so we appreciate you guys. Carson, Susan, Rochelle, Shannon, everybody on here. We really do appreciate you guys, and we appreciate that you were asking questions, engaging with us. That does make it a lot of fun. And, just we're going to be doing this every Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. Also, PD, thanks for jumping on here and communicating with us. You're from Clovis, so we should meet you soon. We do have the shop Monday through Friday. We're open, so come on in. Usually we're here till about 5, a lot of times later, but for sure 5. And you guys can always communicate with us also on social media through the comments here. Right now it's through the chat section, which is a little unique to me. It's pretty cool that it's separate, but once this is posted, which it will be after we're done here wrapping up, you can then comment too, and we'd like to hear from you guys, so we appreciate that. What do you think, Fel?
Bring cash.
Bring
nothing
cash.
Purple.
Cash. No purple tattoos, only cash. Okay. I'm gonna throw this out here just because this is our first time jumping on YouTube, and there's people watching maybe that we don't even know. And can I ask? Can we do just a little voice kind of? She does a really great voice, and maybe we don't even have to tell them who it is. You could just do it, and then they can guess. Boy. I love it. It's just wonderful. See what I get to work with? You see what happens here? This is amazing. Money? Here at the High Sierra Tattoo Company in Clovis, California, live, broadcasting to you on YouTube, we have the infamous Fel. Oh boy, I can't even do it. I'll try it and I just look like a fool. So thank you guys. Bring cash. High Sierra Tattoo Company, Clovis, California.
We're joking about the purple.
We're kind of joking.
We welcome all colors, all designs.
Yes. We are kind of joking, slightly. A little bit of truth. A little bit of truth, always. Yes, so thank you, Petey. Thank you, everybody on here. And we will see you next time. We're going to be live Wednesdays, usually around this time.
Around 5,
Aroundish, 6. Yeah. So maybe we'll pick a time, but we're shooting. It's hard to because we're starving artists, okay? We are trying to be here somewhere around 5 to 6 start time. That's Eastern time, Pacific Coastal time. Anyway, California time. Pacific. Yes, Pacific. So we will be on here again next Wednesday. We'll see you guys then. Ask questions. We will answer them. Engage with us. Tell us where you're from. And we will see you on here next time. So thank you very much.
Eastern would be 8 o'clock or 9.
Yes, so not good. So California time, guys. All right, we're going to be on California time. So 5, 6 o'clock. Thank you. Much love.
See you guys next time.
We out.